Every spring, you're told to declutter your house, your mind, your relationships, your goals, your entire life. And if you do not feel this urge, something is indeed very wrong with you. So let's talk about who benefits from that story.
There's a different way to think about mental health, and it starts with slowing down. Sometimes the longest way around is the shortest way home, and that's exactly why we're taking the Scenic Route. Hi, I'm Jennifer Walter, host of the Scenic Route podcast. Think of me as your sociologist, sister in arms, and rebel with many causes. Together, we're blending critical thinking with compassion, mental health with a dash of rebellion, and personal healing with collective change. We're trading perfectionism for possibility and toxic positivity for messy growth. Each week, we're exploring the path to better mental health and social transformation. And yes, by the way, pretty crystals are totally optional. You ready to take the Scenic Route? Let's walk this path together.
Welcome back to the Scenic Route. I mean, picture this. It's AM. We're in bed awake because perimenopause is a bitch. And of course, we're on Instagram, and within 3 scrolls, I have influencers, ads, what the hell not, tell me to sprinkling my wardrobe, my diet, my goals, my friendships, finances, everything down to my fucking chakras. And there's this feeling, this slow hum of guilt because I haven't done jack shit of that. I don't know about you, but I haven't, because January, February is not my spring cleaning time. And I'm still in winter mode. Like, the seeds are still under the soil. I'm still tired. I'm still figuring out, what we're going to do with this year, because the start has been a shit show. Let alone how to kind of declutter my way to it. So today I want to ask, what if that impulse to spring clean your life isn't really wisdom that surfaces? What if it's just kind of like a disguised productivity trap wearing a self-care costume? Many cultures, the idea of spring cleaning is ancient. Many cultures have some form of spring or New Year cleaning ritual. And they were primarily framed as spiritual, communal, seasonal, not as personal productivity hacks, right? We have loads of traditions and practices. I think I know, otherwise tell me I'm wrong. In Jewish tradition, I think there's a lot of cleaning done before Passover. In Celtic pagan traditions, we have Imbolc, early February was a time for cleansing and purification, as kind of the land started to stir and wake up again. And so the the common thread among these rituals, as said, they were communal, spiritual, seasonal. It was a way of honoring what was and making space for what's coming. Somehow, and they were not framed as personal inadequacy. Nobody stood I don't see anyone standing in their Irish kitchen back in the day thinking, oh, I really need to get my shit together. They were just honoring a seasonal turning point together. Oh, between sacred ritual and Marie Kondo, that's already old news. Spring cleaning got stripped of its communal and spiritual context as fucking everything. As again, this is kind of a parable of our life, digital obligation. It stopped being, we prepare for the turning of the season and we honor what was, and became, you should have already done this. And it should be spotless. And crucially, it stopped being, about the house and the family and the community, and it starts just being about you. Because again, neoliberalism. Awesome, right? It's kind of became about you. Just declutter your space, your mind, your relationships, your habits. There is something to be said to do that, but we need to kind of see it and the bigger perspective and the shift, which is interesting. If your entire existence becomes the thing that needs cleaning, we're in a bit of a pickle. Here's something that shouldn't still be true in 2026, but it is. For example, we have survey data from the UK that shows women still handle cleaning, laundry, meal prep in more than half of households, although they're are also contributing to household income. And that looks very similar to Switzerland, for example. So attitudes have become more egalitarian. People say chores should be shared. But behaviors, hasn't really caught up all that much. And similar patterns appear across many industrialized countries as well. There have been experimental studies by Thibault and colleagues where participants rate identical messy rooms, labeled as occupied by a man versus occupied by a woman. And the study shows harsher judgment of the messy rooms labeled as women because, of course, domesticity and femininity are still structurally tethered, and a messy man is easily framed as busy and a messy woman is failing. So it's always nice if we have hard data to back things up. So when Instagram kind of says, spring clean your life, what does that message actually land on? Who feels the guilt? Who adds it to their already overflowing mental load and to-do list? It's not a universal call. Like, it's a gendered one, and we need to be very mindful of that and very specific about it. Barbara Welter wrote about the cult of true womanhood, I think in 1800, like it's ages ago. Piety, purity, submission, and domesticity are the 4 virtues expected of women. And the language has changed. Caroline got a glossy tradwife update, and we're not necessarily saying domesticity is your duty anymore, but we add hashtag tradwife to it. But the expectation got a rebrand, and it's still basically the same fucking message. So same expectations, kind of different branding, different packaging, less upgrade. I don't know. So what we need to know also is self-care in a very honest definition has very radical roots. Audre Lorde in 1988 wrote that caring for herself and oneself is not self-indulgent, but self-preservation. For her, self-care was about surviving systems that were designed to exhaust and harass her and the identity of the Black woman. It was very much political and communal and an act of refusal. And it kind of has gotten stolen. Neoliberalism got hold of it, and the transformation is really breathtaking. Self-care went from preserving yourself against a system that wants you dead to buy this fucking candle. It smells nice. We go from collective resistance to individual consumption. And that is mind-boggling and could be the whole entire thesis on itself. Researcher Ada McKelly asked in 2017, self-care an act of political warfare or a neoliberal trap? And her argument is that the concept has been co-opted to dismantle public welfare and shift the responsibility for care onto individual citizens. So you're tired, self-care. You're burned out, self-care. The system is breaking you. Have you tried journaling? Have you tried yoga? You're feeling perimenopause is a bitch to you. Have you tried breathing exercises? And that's, again, nothing to do with breathing exercises or journaling, but being an answer to fucking everything and kind of shifting blame. Of course, the ever so great Laurie Penny also nailed it. By saying we're living through the slow collapse of the social contract against a backdrop of mania for clean anything, clean eating, clean productivity, clean blah, 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 personal productivity, radical self-love, the insistence that we can achieve a meaningful existence by maintaining a positive outlook as the planet fucking burns to ashes. So you could see contemporary spring cleaning culture as one seasonal expression of its broader trap, those structural issues repackaged as individual optimization responsibilities. It takes a moment in nature's cycle that's about to emerge. Mud, mess, the first, tentative stirrings of life, and it turns it into you should be purging, optimizing, performing renewal right now, ideally with a lot of expensive products. That's far removed from any kind of spring cleaning idea. It's just kind of a really fancy self-care costume. And it's kind of it's so good, right? You're feeling guilty if you're not participating, if you're not wearing that kind of fancy costume. And I feel another thing that really is not talked about enough is spring doesn't really arrive all at once, right? If you tend to a garden, you know this. In nature, April is muddy. See, the snow is melting, but maybe nothing is blooming yet. It's messy. It's in between. It's raining a lot. The seeds are underground. You can't see them yet. Maybe they're like slowly. You see like the tips. I don't know. I feel even your body knows this. I mean, I'm in no like, woohoo, let's go in January. Like it's still dark. I'm like, no, cannot. So after months of shorter days on winter rhythm, I need recalibrating into early spring. I will be bouncing down the streets like a spring lamb in due time, but not like on the get-go. And energy and like that joy of life, it returns unevenly. Some days you feel awake and ready and spring lamb bouncy, and other days you're just like, no, going back to sleep. Wake me up in June. Kind of like the cultural message again is the season is changing, so should you. Like immediately, visibly, productively. And then of course documented on Instagram, because otherwise it did not happen. And when you can't match that pace, the gap between what you're being told to do and what your body actually needs, that gap often becomes shame. And we have a really interesting experimental research by Becker and colleagues found that exposure to neoliberal ideas increased feelings of competition and disconnection, leading to greater loneliness across the political spectrum. So reduced well-being was specifically or especially evident among liberal participants. So that feeling of everyone is spring cleaning their lives and I'm still in bed, it's not like a personal failing in any sort. In a market-driven culture, there are strong incentives to frame normal struggle as personal failure, because feeling behind keeps people searching for purchasable solutions. Okay? And that's good, because then people spend money on countless solutions and shits and hacks and silver bullets they don't really need. So what if we went back to the original energy of seasonal change, and not like in a way of what should I add to my to-do list, but maybe what can I stop doing? That's also purification for just what can I just drop? And the ancient rituals who were about clearing space for what's coming, let's just kind of like go back into it with anticipation and not with as kind of like, I need to clean my house to prove anything, to prove that I earned spring, a new season. That even sounds very weird, but I'm sure we're often cleaning because if this is clean, then I get to play this story in my head that I am whatever I want to think about myself to be true. But we don't. You don't have to qualify for spring or for change or for anything. So my invitation for now, for like March and April now, is instead of spring cleaning your life, try spring subtracting. What's one thing you could stop performing? One expectation you could put down, or one should you just can compost? Oh, should composting. That's nice. I like that. That would be, I don't know. That's a really nice idea. I want to do something with that. Now my ADHD brain gets sidetracked. But going back to Audre Lorde and her version of self-care, not optimizing, surviving with dignity in a system that wasn't built for her. So if we're going to use the word self-care, let's really mean it, and not productivity with a face mask or a bubble bath, but like a radical act of not performing wellness for other people's comfort. And that also includes not for like my white ass comfort and yours. So you don't have to spring clean your life. You can just be in the mud season. That's okay. Mud is cool. Unless like I saw just a TikTok the other day from this Louisiana guy with the accent that when it's rainy in Louisiana and like from the mud holes in the garden, like they're crawdads coming up. And I'm confused because I always thought those were like living in water. Again, mud season can be lovely. Also, all the creatures living in the mud. Just don't want to have them in my house, but that's fair. So the seeds are already underground. They're growing. They're sprouting. You don't need to do anything about it. So if this made you see spring cleaning kind of differently, share this episode with someone who needs permission to not optimize their way through like spring and for April. And if you're feeling that in between space right now, the mud season, come say hi. I feel my life isn't currently this season of my life is a never-ending fucking mud season. Come say hi. I'm on Instagram and TikTok. right there with you. I'm also sharing a lot of mud season content in my monthly newsletter. Subscription is in the show notes. It's where I share a lot of in-betweens, a lot of things I wish, I don't know, my therapist told me sooner. And everything just kind of like helping me through mud season, which I also think this would make a great t-shirt. Anyway, I'd love to see you back on the Scenic Route next week. Take care.
And just like that, we've reached the end of another journey together on the Scenic Route podcast. Thank you for spending time with us. Curious for more stories or in search of the resources mentioned in today's episode? Visit us at scenicroutepodcast.com for everything you need. And if you're ready to embrace your scenic route, I've got something special for you. Step off the beaten path with my Scenic Route affirmation card deck. It's crafted for those moments when you're seeking courage, yearning to trust your inner voice, and eager to carve out a path authentically, unmistakably yours. Pick your Scenic Route affirmation today and let it support you. Excited about where your journey might lead? I certainly am. Remember, the Scenic Route is not just about the destination, but the experiences, learnings, and joy we discover along the way. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you on the Scenic Route again.